Welcome to Let's Talk Church and Other Things. I'm your host, Charla.
And I'm Corey.
And today our guest is Sharon Ashley,
Yes.
a.k.a. LadyRuck. What's going on?
Hey, I'm in the building. I'm excited to be here.
Live and in color.
Live and in color. I'm excited to be in your presence because, I said this before, but I really, really, really look up to you, value you. You provide me with so much inspiration on a regular basis, and you remind me to remember God, but you also remind me that I'm human as well, so I appreciate what you bring to us, especially people who are believers, who may be backsliders, who may be whatever, I don't know, however we want to say it. So what you do is super important, and I just want to thank you, and I appreciate you. We've had a couple of personal conversations,
right.
Which I won't share. But so I'm super excited. It's like I'm here with a superstar.
Oh, speak those things that are not as though they are.
Yes, amen.
Superstar.
Hallelujah.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it.
Of course.
So for those who don't know who LadyRuck is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Providence born and bred, born and raised in Providence. Child of a musician. That's what got me into music. My dad was a bass player. Actually, his birthday just passed. I'm like trying not to get too sensitive about it because, me and my dad were very close. And his birthday just passed. But he was a musician and he loved music. He wrote music, played music, wrote a lot of gospel music that he would play often. So that's where I get my musical background, is from my dad. And I actually started out DJing. I went to URI. Shout out to URI. And I started on the radio. And I was actually just a radio personality. But back in those days, because I'm an old lady, we used to use vinyl to play the music. So I had to use vinyl to play music on the radio. And I had to, basically, it wasn't as easy as me like just press and play. Like I had to kind of pay attention to what I was doing. So it kind of introduced me to DJism, and then I just kind of got on turntables and taught myself and started telling everybody I could DJ, and nobody believed me until I actually got a gig, and I actually had to call DJ Lefty because I didn't know what I was doing really, because I just talked my way into, I'm pretty much a charmer, so talked my way into a gig, and I was like, actually, when I got there, what the problem was, the booth, back in the day, there was a lot of sound. So the sound would make the booth shake. So it would make the turntables vibrate. So what their solution was to add cushions on, like in the DJ booth, which they put the turntables on top of, so that it wouldn't vibrate from the sound of the speakers. But for me, that was problematic because it meant that the turntables were like kind of wobbly, and I was kind of heavy-handed. I wasn't trained, so I was like trying to move things, and it was just like the needles falling off. Everything was just going crazy, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And I called Lefty, and he came and he helped me out. But after that, I was like, okay, I'm never gonna look stupid again. And then I made myself a better DJ from that.
So the vibration was from the speaker. It wasn't even like the bass level. It was.
It was the bass. It was the bass. But I think nowadays it's a little different because we have powered speakers, and we're smarter about where we place them. Venues know, okay, I have to place this here. This was kind of back in the day when there wasn't really a lot of technical advances like we have today. So the speakers were right there and the booth was right there, and it was just, I don't think anybody had enough sense to say, well, maybe we should move the speakers away so it doesn't make it vibrate. But of course, it was my first experience, and I was just like, what do I do? I called Lefty, I'm DJing over here. And I think the club it's now, I think it's 67 on Smithfield Ave. And I called him. I'm like, I'm over here DJing. And he's like, you're doing what?
Was you nervous?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I was definitely nervous. But I was glad. Shout out to Lefty that he came and saved me that day, because I just didn't know what to do. Once Once they were on the cushions and stuff. But I feel like that's really what started me DJing, because I literally was like, I can DJ, and then I had to DJ. So.
So your first DJing experience, what kind of a crowd was it? Like, what was the genre?
Thank God it was like a really dead club, so it wasn't really like, it was probably me and the bartenders. Like, it probably was not that serious, but for me, like, it was traumatizing because I was like, oh, this is my first time. But it was like a really small venue, and it wasn't really like a huge crowd. So,
Okay.
it was a good place for that to happen. Yeah, it's a good place for that to happen.
Yep, practice zone. The
Yes.
practice zone.
How'd you do your second gig?
My second gig, I ended up DJing at Future Shock, which was for WRIU, and it was for WRIU. We used to have to do a lot of fundraising because it was a college radio station, and it wasn't commercial. We had no commercial money coming in. It was like student funds only, and they used to be what they had. I forgot the name of the fundraising campaign, but they would literally do it on air for each genre, because WRIU would have jazz, classical, bluegrass, hip hop. Like, they had different genres. Which, shout out to Cuddy Cut, because Cuddy Cut actually developed WRIU to. You had to have, it was an alternative music. All alternative music was on there. So it was all type of alternative genres on there. Things you didn't hear at that time. You didn't hear hip hop on mainstream radio. So the way Cuddy Cut set up WRIU was for all like genres that you don't hear of. And what they would do, Radiothon. I think it was called Radiothon. And everybody would get on the air and they would solicit donations. But what happened with the hip hop department was, nobody was really calling up to make a donation. So they decided to come up with like a big dance party, which they called Future Shock. And all the DJs would DJ at this thing called Future Shock. And that's the way that the hip hop department would make money for the radio station. So I actually basically was like, can I please get a set? I can DJ. And I have to say, shout out to Ulysses and his party thing. That's real old school, because he's the first person that actually gave me a shot on WRIU. He pushed me and made sure that he was like, she has talent, so you need to give her the opportunity. So they gave me the opportunity, and I did my set, and everybody's like, oh, wow, you can actually DJ, and that's where it started.
So you basically got started on the radio, so I would assume you taught yourself.
I did. I taught myself. Now, I say that with a grain of salt because I grew up with a couple of DJs, so I was always around DJs that I saw DJing, or I'd be hanging out and we'd be in the basement and people would be doing blends and we would be doing blends. I have to bring up DJ Lefty because we went to high school together. He's somebody that I would be around. Another DJ, DJ Hazardous, he's somebody that I would be around. DJ Craze. These were people that I was around when I was younger that were DJs. And I really didn't do much. I was just kind of like in the background, just listening. So when I started DJing, everybody was surprised because I was around, but I wasn't like, hey, I want to DJ. It was kind of like something I did.
Right.
Kind of behind everybody. And then
Behind
I just,
the scene.
yeah. And then I was like, hey, guess what? I could DJ, guys.
Stepping on.
I'm stepping. I can do this. So, and I don't know. I think I just like a challenge. So I think that's really what propelled me into doing that, if that makes sense. I don't know.
So how do you think music has changed
Oh my gosh.
from then until now?
Well, music has changed a lot in the sense of, just in the sense of, if we were talking about hip hop was not mainstream when I first started DJing, and you couldn't hear mainstream music. Or I'll talk about my background and my upbringing. I grew up in a Christian household. So in my house, I listened to gospel music and like Earth, Wind and Fire, or like Bootsy Collins, because my father was a bass player. So he listened to the old school artists, but it was really gospel. For me to hear black music, the only time I heard black music was when we tuned in on Sunday for the gospel hour before church. And then afterwards would be BRU 360 Degrees in Sound. That's really where I got my music from, or I was introduced to secular music, I'll say. you know. So for me, was the big difference between now and then is before I could only tune into BRU to hear that music. There was nowhere else that I would hear that music. Now we have a couple of different platforms, a couple of different outlets from, BET to different radio stations that are in our area that play hip hop, actually more predominantly than anything else. When I was coming up, Michael Jackson was like a big deal to be played on certain radio stations. Like that, if you remember, I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but because
We're
I'm
old.
old.
Sure,
We're old.
sure looks like she's like my sister, so I'm just talking like she's my sister.
You know how old the son is?
Listen, the
Yeah,
son,
so
the son is
how old the
he's a
mother
youngin.
is.
The son is a youngin, so he always talks about how old he is, and I'm like, can you stop? Because when you say how old you are, you make me feel real old. If you're old, I'm ancient, so stop. He'd be like, oh God, I'm old, LadyRuck. No, you're not. Stop it. But really, back in the day, and not to mention different radio stations, but 92 Pro FM was the radio station that we had. That was the predominantly main radio station. And, we had kind of like the pop, what we call now yacht rock type of music, like Hall & Oates, which is one of my favorite bands.
Mine too.
Oh, man, I love me some
Daryl
Hall.
Hall.
Listen, do you know that they did not get along?
Listen, I know.
Did you? I never knew that.
Yeah. I
But you would
wouldn't see them at
never
Foxwoods.
know.
They could sing. And he's old. That was like 78.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a break to talk about Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates, please. Just a Hall & Oates break, please.
We will return with LadyRuck.
In a second. Just a second. Because we just have to say, no, I really do like Hall & Oates. But I did see that on, I think they have like a special or something. And it was amazing to me. And it's a testimony to how when you have a goal of what you want to do and you can work with whoever. That's why I'm bringing that up. You can work with whoever. As long as you put your ego to the side and you understand what the goal is, you can work with whoever. And I think people need to start realizing that in this world, in this day and age, like sometimes we got to put our ego to the side. Like
Check it at the door.
check it at the door, because imagine if they hadn't checked their egos at the side. We wouldn't have a lot of those classics.
Yeah, great music.
And we had no idea. So I mean, okay.
And now
Back
we
to me.
will return to our interview with LadyRuck.
Sorry, I don't know how we got to all the notes, but
So we're going to bring up Michael McDonald. And
Oh my God, please.
Good.
So we were literally just in the restaurant and some song came on and I was like, oh, I think that was Michael McDonald's. Then I'm like, no, that's the Doobie Brothers. And I'm like, wait a minute, Michael McDonald was in the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, like I had a revelation literally just now about Michael McDonald, who I also think is the greatest as well. So
yeah. I have to say, though, it's, it was funny that you all went to Hall & Oates and then whatever. But it's good when you have an open mind when it comes to music.
You have
because,
to.
some of these younger DJs, they're just like in one lane.
Yep.
And so, which they limit themselves because now you can't DJ certain events because you don't have that library of music.
And I'm gonna say, and I want to say this. Hopefully, it's an inspiration to other DJs. You don't want to just be in one lane, because then you're fighting with 15 other people in that lane. I'm excited when somebody calls me for something that I know that none of my peers are gonna get called for. Like I've done parties for a Hmong community. You know what I mean? And when I say Hmong, I'm talking about Asian, where I've played music that I know none of us know. But I'm proud to say that I've been able to do that because it puts me in a different category, I feel like, as a DJ, because I've been able to DJ for a lot of different people. And that's really what made me be a DJ. It's not because I think I know better or because I think I know music well. It's because I like the reaction of the crowd and I like to make people happy. There's nothing better to me than when I do an event or a function and I get, you really did that. We really appreciate you. We're so happy. That's really what it's about. I think a lot of us DJs don't remember that sometimes, that it's really not about us. It's about the people that we're working for.
Right. You said something a few minutes ago about being brought up in a Christian home.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did that go over when, you came out as a non-Christian
as a
DJ.
non-Christian DJ. I honestly, shout out to my parents. My mom and my dad have always been really supportive. I was born, listen, I went to church on Sunday. I did devotions every day. We came from playing. 5 o'clock, you come in, you do your devotions. I went to Bible study. I went to youth, what do we call it? It was kids group that I used to go to at Faith and Hope Christian Church. Shout out to Faith and Hope. But I literally spent most of my days in church and being indoctrinated with Christianity and the Word and God and what I'm supposed to know. When I became a DJ, my parents never said, "Oh, you're horrible, you're going to hell, you're doing the wrong." And my father was always very, very proud of me. And I think it's because my parents know that while I might be in a secular environment, my light always shines. And I feel like hopefully I try to shine it as much as I can. As I get older, I do feel more responsibility. When you're younger, you're kind of rebellious. You know what I mean? And I think that my parents understood she needs to have this time, because there was one thing as a youth that I didn't understand. I couldn't understand hymns. I couldn't understand being saved, because I was already in an environment that I was protected. I didn't experience any of those things that I would need to be saved from. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, you're already in an episode that I'm gonna have. What did I just say? I'm having an episode.
Girl.
So anybody listening that's local, Connecticut, Boston, Rhode Island, because I want to know, what does it mean to be saved?
Yes, we got to have that conversation. And I will be tuned in. Make sure you send me a personal message. Miss Shirla, do not forget to send me that personal message. Don't act like we don't be in the inbox with each other. Send me that message. But they never came to me like, "Oh, you're evil, you're going to hell." That was never the discussion. That my mom and my father always just wanted to encourage me to remember who the Savior was, and that you're saved by the blood, and that God is first and God is alive, and that we are living in the last days in time, and to be aware of kind of all the tricks of the devil. My father lived revelations. Like, I can spit it to you, maybe not verbatim right now, but it was something that I was brought up on. But I think that for them, it was just important for me to understand that I needed to be a light no matter what I was doing.
Right.
And my father was always really adamant about how Jesus was. Jesus didn't do his preaching where the Christians and everybody already was. He went to the hot prostitutes and the whores and the thieves. He went where they was to be an example. And it wasn't even like when Jesus, let's think about how Jesus was. Jesus didn't walk into, let's say he's walking into a whore's place. I'm sorry, use my words. But he didn't walk in there condemning anybody. He walked in there with love and acceptance and understanding, and telling them that you are my child and I love you and I have you. The place that he did condemn was the church, if we really talk about it. Child, why you getting me started with this?
LadyRuck the preacher.
I mean, and that's what it comes down to. Like, I realized that in this position, I have to utilize that in the best way. And I really do try to make sure I make it known that, God is my savior. So there's certain things, like when we talk about music and it being different, there's certain artists I won't play. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that I can't play. Like if it's a devil worship type of song, I just can't do it. Like,
Do you play R. Kelly?
No, I don't. Do not. Not at all. Do I play Michael Jackson? Yes, but he wasn't proven guilty,
Everyone in jail is not guilty.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying he's innocent, but I'm just saying.
So I'll tell you why I'm so adamant about the R. Kelly, because first off, this is the music I came up under and being influenced, and I can remember, I have memories of the music and places it brought me and stuff of that nature. the problem that I have is that, you know, these are the things that he used to manipulate a lot of young women and take advantage and violate them. So it's really hard for me to utilize to play that, knowing that he did that. And there's a lot of artists. There's actors, there's political officials that all fall into that, you know, I guess, box. But for me, that's a person that I had to make a stand about.
So if you're doing a gig and someone comes up and asks you, can you play
No.
Step in the Name of Love, you just tell
Nope.
them no?
No. You get that request a lot for weddings.
Yeah.
So usually when I meet with somebody for a wedding and they say, you know, can you, we want to hear Step in the, I'm not playing that. I don't play
And
R.
that
Kelly.
used to be the song.
That was definitely, listen, I miss R. Kelly.
He's a creep, but he got great music.
Well, we went to see him in concert. I'll tell you the
He's very talented, and the reality of it is that what's really difficult with me for R. Kelly, if you really followed him, he was very much, he would speak about God and religion and a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The man was conflicted. The man had his issues.
Yep.
And that's we talk about attachments, right? You know what I mean when I talk about attachments, right? When demons attach to you. And I think we all, if we don't pray and put on the armor of God, we get those attachments to us.
Especially when
you know what I mean when I'm saying that, right?
When you get to the point where, okay, the gifts and talents come from God, you know, and for people such as yourself, Franchise, and I'm sure there's others that really had no one teach them how to DJ, but they just, you know, picked it up. Yeah, that's when you know that that's your gift from God.
Yes.
And a lot of these people out here today, whether they're singing or rapping, because I believe there's if you listen to some of these rappers, like I listen to lyrics, and some of them have, you know, they have really good lyrics. Everybody's not talking about gang banging.
Yeah, no, everybody's not.
Every girl's not a bee, and you know what I mean? But when you start losing your humbleness and forgetting where you came from, I always say God has a way.
He will humble you very quickly
and bring you down. And you know what? Just as quick as he gave you that gift, he can take it away.
No, it's true. I literally start off, and I don't know if you see, sometimes I start off my day, I post on Facebook, especially lately. In the past, really, like, I feel like my dad's been, like, really sending messages, like, you know, pay attention, be aware, and maybe that sounds weird, but I feel it. I believe it, and a couple things. Anyways, because there's a lot I could say about my dad. Like, my dad, literally, the day he passed, he was up, like, where we are today, talking, and he looked at me. He didn't say nothing to anybody else. He said, today's the last day I'm going to call you Peanut. But wanted me to know, like, I love you. It was so weird, because a couple hours later, I got a call that he was gone. And then when I went to the hospital and I saw him and his face, and he had such a sense of peace, that's how I know God is real. That's how I know it's through my father. I know God is real, not just because of what he said, but because of what I saw on my father's face. And literally 4 weeks later, I saw a friend's father pass away. And literally, same situation, I'm at the hospital, and the face that he had was a face of fear. So from then I knew, even if I didn't, I knew. And I feel like we all have talents that God gives us. And it's not always going to be in the church that we get the talents, because people in the church already know the message, right? So we've got to get the message to people that are not in the church, that are outside of the church, the people that are on the streets, that are homeless, that are struggling, that may not know, and will look to somebody like me like, oh, okay, she's doing well. I want them to always know that comes from God. That's God's blessing. There's a lot of DJs my age. Now, we talk about me and Franchise. I'm pretty much probably, Franchise, what am I, like, 8 years your senior or something like that?
No.
Yes, I I think I am. I think I'm like 8 years, 7 years older. But for me to be as busy as I am, like, literally I'm booked every weekend into the week. Like, I'm super busy as a DJ at my age. I feel like that's only God. you know, to keeping me out there because he wants me to, like you said, provide my talents as an example of his blessings. You know what I mean?
I have a question.
Hopefully that makes sense.
So when you first started, was it hard for you to get a gig being a female?
Oh yeah.
There was like maybe they didn't take you serious.
Oh yeah, no. I was on the radio, so I thought, okay, I'm on the radio. Like at that time, WRIU was right there. They were right there. You had 89.9, which was the Providence College station. You had WRIU, and you had BRU. So you know, we were all kind of heavy, like, you know, all as far as like promotions. I remember one promoter, I won't say his name, used to call me all the time to promote his events. He had these tickets, da 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 da. And as soon as I said, well, I'm DJing, would you like to, you know, it was like, no. I don't think, even now, I've worked with very few promoters booked me because they didn't believe that I could actually do it.
Now, did that discourage you?
It did. I quit DJing for a while.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
How long?
I was, I started working as a mental health counselor right in this area, actually. I used to be right on Hope Street. And I want to say I took like a 6-7 year break.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It was a long break.
Well, would you still?
I mean, I was still DJing
At
like
home?
people's parties or stuff like that. You know, people would hit me up and I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll do your party. Like I was still doing stuff
That's
like
a long
that.
break,
but
7 years.
it was a long. I took a long break. I mean, I feel like when I first started DJing, I was on the radio and that was my thing. I don't really feel like I can, like if I go back to my first years as a DJ, I can't be like, oh, I DJ'd here or I had this residency here, because it really wasn't like that. I felt like I was like, please, sir, will you give me a little gig, please, today? You know, I feel like that's how I was. Like,
Talk about my Oliver.
please, sir.
May
May
I have a little
I have a little gig today?
Yeah.
And I think I got frustrated with that, and I just said, you know, and now people might say it wasn't about me being a female. I feel like it was about me being a female because I watched other people get gigs and events, and even people that didn't even consider themselves DJ at the time, and they would get gigs and events, and me, they were like, well, we'll let you in free. But that was pretty much it.
So how did you reestablish yourself after?
Reestablishing myself.
Before you even answer that question, something
Sure.
you said about being on the radio. So we know being a radio DJ, and maybe this is why people
It's very
didn't
different than
think-
being a
right,
real,
because,
not
you know, even you just now you just push button. That's so they probably look at, okay, you're a radio DJ. You're really not. You don't know how to scratch. You don't know how
yeah,
to,
exactly,
You don't
exactly.
know how to, bring another song in on
Exactly.
top of that one. You don't know how to mix beats.
Which
and-
is true, but if there were other people on the radio station getting gigs, so even if they felt like as a radio DJ I didn't have the technical DJ skills, and I actually caught myself when I said Rio, because I don't want to say that, because there's different types of DJs, number one, and like there are DJs that are radio DJs, and that's a needed position. Like that's something that we do. Like that's valuable. There's value in that, right? There's DJs that do parties, like event DJs. There's value in that. There's DJs that are turntablists, that are like amazing DJs, but they're turntablists, and that means that they're really good at the scratching, they're really good at the tricks, but they may not be the person that you want to DJ a party. You know what I mean? So there's all different levels of DJs. So I do understand that, and I might not feel like that if I didn't see other people that were less advanced than I was
And you were getting jobs.
getting gigs. Yeah.
So what was my question? Oh, how did you reestablish yourself after being out for like 6-7 years?
So I think what I really did to reestablish myself, it really just came down to I started doing a couple of mixtapes. So actually shout out to DJ So Crazy. He actually taught me how to put a mixtape together and do a mixtape, and I actually started doing mixtapes. And actually I'm gonna shout out DJ Chop Stewie, because this was actually before DJ Chop Stewie was a DJ. He was just Chop Stewie at this time. He was just a Chop and a Stewie at this time. But I had made this mixtape, and I was, like I said, I was still DJing for people, but not really like on a main scale. And I made this mixtape, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And we had put it in, and Stu was like, that is so good. We're giving this to everybody. He took all my CDs. He went into South Street at the time. He was like, you need this CD. You need this CD. You need this CD. But I think me doing the CDs really actually got me a little bit more exposure. And then I actually started DJing actually at South Street. That's that place where he was like shopping my mixtape, like, you gotta listen to LadyRuck. And I started DJing at South Street, and then that just got me back into the game. Even though South Street wasn't like a club, if you remember South Street, it was just like a bar. Yep. But everybody went through there. So it was like that gave me a lot of exposure, and a lot of people knew, and then I just started getting gigs from there. It just kind of went from there.
Was LadyRuck your first DJ name?
No, my first DJ name was Ruckus. My DJ name, my radio personality name was Ruckus.
Who gave you that name?
My friend Corey C. Right, we were actually on the radio. We were on RIU one day, and it was a conversation like, you can't just be Sharon. You gotta have a name. I was like, oh, whatever. And he had said, well, you're always up here, because I was very like pro-black. I was like a sister soldier type of person in college. I was like,
bringing the ruckus.
I was bringing the ruckus. So pretty much he was like, you know what, we're gonna call you Ruckus. And then I met Ruckus, and then I was like, I'll fight you because you got my name. But that's another story.
Who had it first?
I had it first. I had it first. But now, and this is the back to the example of talking about, you can work with anybody, and it's better for us to work together. And if we can get, it's better for us to work together than work against each other. And I think in years and years and years to come, both him and I decided it was better for us to work together than against each other. So I think when I was coming back out and I was doing the mixtapes, that's when we talked about a name change. And we went through all kinds of things. My friends, like if you talk to my friends, then you won't hear LadyRuck. They call me Ruck. That's my name too, like everybody that's known me. But it became, we don't want the confusion, da-da-da-da-da. Right. And then we tried so many different things, and then it was just like, well, LadyRuck, and then I just stuck. So that's where LadyRuck came from, because we wanted to change it so that there wasn't anybody mistaking me for him and him for me and that type of stuff. And all respect to him. No disrespect to him.
So would you say doing the mix CDs, is that what really established you as a DJ, where you started getting the respect as, I'm a female DJ? Or do you...
I don't have the respect, even still.
And she's laughing.
Because I really don't, because it doesn't matter, because they're not going to stop me. So, whatever I'm going to do.
But you're busy. You're busy.
And listen, because, girl, it'd be serious out here in these DJ streets.
Really? And I mean, you're laughing, but
I am.
But that's a serious issue, because you're out here doing your thing.
I am.
And why do you feel that they still don't give you that respect?
So I don't. Here's the thing. I'm being silly, and I'm joking. I do feel like I get a lot of respect. People give me, so much love. I've gotten a lot of awards. Just last year, I was voted Reader's Choice Best DJ for Providence Journal, which is major. I don't think there's ever been a black person that's even been nominated, let alone to win that. You know what I mean? So I don't, I'm joking. I don't want to make it seem like I don't have any, support or people that uplift me or anything like that. But I do think that some people, but I think that's just in anything that you do, right? So I could be a race car driver, right? And I'm sure that there are people, misogyny is real. It's real. It's a real thing. It's not something that is fake or women make up. It's just real. And people think that men do things better a lot of times than girls. So sometimes I feel like, there are people that feel like, or I'll give you an example. I've been told that I'm only in a position where like what I do, I only get that love because I am a female. Not because I'm actually a good DJ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really...
And how do do you respond to that when someone tells you that?
I just go even harder and I just do more events and I DJ even more and I just rub it in their face.
Wow, that's crazy.
And you've been DJing for how long?
Over 20 years.
You know what? I didn't realize you went back as far as Curdy Cut. Like,
yeah, I do. Curdy Cut, rest in peace, Curdy Cut. Mm-hmm. He was one of the first people that I said, listen, I want to DJ. And he actually was like, I will give you lessons. He would pick me up. We would go through music. We didn't get as far as we should have just because of life and then he passed. But Curdy Cut was actually one of the people who was like, I will get behind you.
He was good people.
Like, if he was here right now, he would be so proud. Like, I cannot believe you actually followed through. Because, and franchise can attest to this, so many people will come up to you and say, I want a DJ. I can be a DJ. I can do that. I want to do it. And it takes a lot to stick it through. No, franchise, like, it really is not. Everybody thinks DJing is so easy. Like, you're just playing music. How about you try to just play music for 5 hours?
And they don't even get
and please everybody.
And you have to have to a certain extent, you have to have an ear for
you
music.
Do
because first of all, like, you go do certain events like a prom. Okay, so you have all nationality of children. Mm-hmm. They're all coming up to you. This one wants to hear Taylor Swift. This one wants to hear Drake. This one wants to hear.
So you have to know how to pay for everything.
How to keep the flow going, but you have to know what song goes where.
And if you're a good DJ, you don't even want anybody to come up to you to make a request. And let me explain to you guys why we don't want requests. It's not that we don't want to know what you want to hear. We want to feel like we're good DJs enough that we have anticipated. We have anticipated what you want to hear. Right. That you don't have to ask us what you want to hear. So, like, a lot of people don't understand that DJs, it's not like we don't like requests. It's that we want to be good enough DJs that we're going to play it before you even get to request it. And a lot of requests people make, like, we're going to play it. Just give us a chance. Give me a minute. I'm going to play Lola Brooke. It's going to come on.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get that, it's everybody's on the dance floor, and then that song comes on where everybody just scatters.
Hey, how does that feel? How does that feel if you got the dance floor packed and then you play a song?
Some DJs won't admit that it happens to them, but I will say it has happened to me because I am not I'm not a slave to a set. So, like, if I'm feeling away and I want to try something, I might try something, and that might mean it. Listen, I don't care who you are. You could be franchise, you could be me. And when you see that happen, you're like, oh God. But the best DJ knows when something's not working, you hurry up and you get up out of there and you go somewhere else. You get it back so that the people will come back. Mm-hmm. But you'd be surprised. I literally, I did a shout out to my girl Lynn. I did her wedding on Saturday. And it's a great wedding. I know the family. I played something that every DJ would play at a wedding, and it cleared the dance floor. Franchise, can you guess what song?
A fast song or slow song?
It's a classic. It's a classic song that you would play at somebody's wedding. Huh? Oh my God! How did you guess that?
What was it?
Before I Let Go. Maze and Frankie
Beverly?
Yes. Well, can we give Franchise a round of applause? Like,
where's the button?
I can't believe he guessed that. I was like, he's not gonna guess it
too.
So literally, I put it on, and they was like, I was like,
now what age was that? Age group?
They were, trust me, they was just dancing to Cutie Pie. No, listen,
yeah, that's the same.
They were just exactly. They was just dancing to Cutie Pie. They liked the candy. They liked everything else. Before I Let Go came on, they was like, oh, let me go to the bar. I was like, oh my gosh, I had never seen that before, but obviously Franchise has because he's guessed it. He guessed.
I'm tired of hearing it.
Yo, I'm tired of hearing it too. I'm tired of hearing it.
Man, that's a black national anthem.
Look at. Let me tell you, when they walked off that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. God, we ain't playing this for a couple of months now. This is going in the other rotation.
Now, do people respond to the one with Beyonce more than the original?
I might say yeah. I might say yeah. Not older people though. I think older people get insulted. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I usually play them both.
Yep.
To please both. Like,
yeah.
If the older people out there and they hear the Beyonce and they stop moving and they're like, oh, this isn't it, then I'll switch to the Frankie Maze because I think that was the best.
First time I heard that.
Yo, let me tell you, I was literally like amazed.
But we play it everywhere.
Like Franchise said. we are tired of hearing it, and it happens.
Yeah.
It's just like Drugba. I'm tired of hearing Drugba. I don't want to hear it no more. But there's some places that I know, like, I have to play it because it's just what people expect, and that's the other thing
you
too.
can never please everyone.
No, you can't.
You can't. So you can't please everyone. So what would you say to a female that's, aspiring to be a DJ? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would tell her to practice every day. You have to practice all the time. I would tell her not to give up. I would tell her to just be assured in herself. Because that's the other thing. I think people think that DJs are kind of braggy. And we are, but we have to we have to like lift ourselves up. We have to think that we're the best. Like literally
cocky and confident.
We have to be cocky. Like literally, I was having a conversation on Saturday in front of Franchise, and I used him. I mean, and of course I don't feel like this, but I was being cocky. I'm like, I'll battle Franchise, I'll battle you, I'll battle him. I don't care. Like, that's how we have to be. You know what I mean? Am I gonna battle Franchise? No, I'm not gonna battle Franchise. He's one of my favorites. But I mean, if I'm in the throes of an argument, then yeah, I'm gonna talk all that. I'm gonna talk all that crap. Like, I'm gonna go all the way in.
You want all the smoke?
Yes, I want all the smoke. I don't care who it is. Ruckus, Fred Gray, I don't care. Who is it? No. And those are my brothers. I love them. But
she up here calling people
out. But Franchise, look at Franchise. Am I lying? I did. And Franchise was like, I gotta respect you. You said it. I wouldn't say it, but I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna say it. But I think that's one of the things that I would say to a female or a male, anybody as a DJ. You have to have the confidence in you as well. And you have to practice, and you have to know your craft. You have to research. I would say this to a new DJ, an old DJ. One of the things that I think DJs don't do is, once you get to a point that like some people that might be where I'm at, booked all the time and all that stuff, might think that they don't need to know anymore. Me, I'm always, if I'm not working, I go out to hear other DJs so I can learn. Because you're never at the top of knowing everything with DJing. I go out to see what the crowd's reacting to. There might be a song that I'm not playing that another DJ's playing. Like, that's super important, I would say, to any aspiring DJs. You have to listen to other DJs. Like, you can't be so full of yourself that you feel like you don't have to listen to other DJs. You have to listen to other DJs. And then the other thing I would just say is, like, just be consistent and follow through. If this is what you want to do, be consistent, stick with it. It's so much easier now to be a DJ than it was when I started.
Oh, yeah, and especially with technology, because I can't even imagine. You've been doing it for what, 20 years?
Yeah, 20 plus.
Who was carrying your turntables?
I used to listen. I used to carry everything. I mean, I used to carry the turntables. So back when I started, I had turntables, I had an amp, I had a receiver, I had the speakers, I had the crates. That was the problem. The crates were really the problem. I used to try to go in and act like a damsel in distress. Like, can somebody carry these crates for me? And I could never. I don't know. DJs might be able to relate to this. I could never decide which crates to bring to, like, minimize. So I'd bring, like, pretty much everything, which is bad, because that's like.
Did you do that? Bring all those crates.
Did you bring a lot? No, you didn't bring more crates than you needed.
But he would have like 3. But he had
5 or 6 exactly.
But when we say crates, no.
But that's what I'm saying. The recycling bins.
The Rubbermaid bins.
Yes, the blue ones. That's what I mean. I say crates because that's how we call it. But the recycling bins. So I'd have like at least 4 or 5 of those that I would bring with me, and that was like heavy. Now it's a lot easier. But I don't even carry my stuff. Shout out to my husband and to my best friend Ro. I do not carry anything anymore. They do it for me. They set me up. I am a princess when it comes to that stuff.
So how many hours a week would you say you practice?
Now, this is why I'm saying it. I'm horrible with practicing because I DJ so much that, like, when I unplug my stuff at home, it's unplugged because I'm about to go DJ somewhere. I'm going to DJ on a Tuesday, then I got a Thursday, and I got a Friday, then I got a Saturday. So by the time I get home, I'm not really connecting it to really do what I need to do. So that's one of the things that I'm not good with anymore that I really encourage people to be good with because it's important. But I feel like I'm out DJing so much that I'm practicing live anyways. So it's
anybody
like,
wants to know the practice ethic? That one right
he's
there.
never out. So I'm going to tell you, I've seen him and some other DJs. There's a couple of DJs, not many, but if he's not DJing, he's got his laptop open. He's organizing his files. He's, got everything going on. Like, if he's not on the actual turntables, he's still doing something towards DJing. And I think that's super important. And while I make jokes about not practicing, even if I don't connect my equipment, I'm in my laptop, I'm doing blends on my laptop, I'm downloading music. You just have to be constantly on top of stuff, because literally music changes in the matter of a second. So what was cool today is not going to be cool tomorrow, especially when we talk about young people. And shout out to the young people that still book me. I literally did a Sweet 16 on Saturday. I walk in and this little girl is like, well, not little girl, she's 16. I have a party on Saturday and I need you. And I'm like, why do you want me? I'm old, but they keep booking me, so I appreciate that.
So
I'm able to do.
You want the booking, so you can't
Yes.
say, "Why do you look at me?" Because
No, I wouldn't say it to her. I wouldn't say it to her.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I'm
can't-
27.
But you can't even
Child.
think that, because it's like, so God's like, okay, I'm opening doors for you.
Yes, no.
And now your question, why do they want me?
No, I had to learn not to question when God is moving and making things happen. And I'm appreciative. Like I said, I start every day with, like, gratitude is my attitude. And I'm so happy because at any time it could be different. I could be one of those DJs sitting at home in my bases with only time to practice because I don't have actual work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm always grateful for that, if that makes sense.
Okay. I have one more question.
Sure.
You said you went to school with Lefty, was it?
Yeah.
So was Lefty the first DJ you see and you said, I want to do that?
I didn't. So me and Lefty were friends. I used to hire him all the time for parties. He DJ'd my wedding and everything. I didn't see Lefty and say, oh, I want to do what Lefty does.
It had to be a DJ because your dad was a singer, right?
My dad was a bass player.
So
and actually,
you went that route.
DJ Buck was, his mom and my grandmother were best friends, actually. My father taught DJ Buck how to play the bass.
Okay.
So if I talk about who the first DJs I knew Buck probably first. I just went to school with Lefty and Craze and Hazardous, those three DJs that I remember off the top of my head, and So Crazy.
So it wasn't a DJ you seen and you was like, no, what? I wanna do that.
It was all of them combined. Okay. It was all of them combined. I can't say that it was just Lefty or that it was just Buck. It really was just, I really enjoyed going out, hearing the music and really good music. And when I started doing radio, was like, okay, I feel like I could possibly do this, And but I was always humble. Like for the first 10 years, I wasn't a DJ. You couldn't tell me I was a DJ because I would say, no, I just know how to DJ. I'm not a DJ. I didn't feel like I was a DJ. But I would say, if I have to say names, I would definitely say Lefty, and I would definitely say Buck, and I would say Curdy Cut, and I would say Fred Hazard are people that, and Craze are people that I all saw when I was younger that were DJs that inspired. And my husband was a DJ. And unfortunately he was a bad boy and he got locked up. And then he came home and I was a DJ. So then he gave it up and I kept it. Yeah.
But imagine, he should get back into it. They could book you all.
I try to convince. Listen, I try to encourage.
He can open up for you.
Listen, to him, it's LadyRuck's world. This is what she does. This is what we're doing. The DJ and the family is me. Because I'm always like, you could learn because you could help me. Because unfortunately, I double book myself a lot, and I'm overextended a lot of the time. I do different things here and there.
So as you're getting busier, that's when you have to
find a protege. Yes, and I keep
an assistant.
I keep trying to find one
to keep up with. They don't know how to. Well, a lot of these younger ones, they don't get it though. They don't get it. They're not business minded because they have to be.
And that's what it is. The thing about DJing is you have to be able to stick with it for long enough to be able to follow through with it. You know what I mean? You have to. Anybody, I could set you up. You could probably do a really bomb 30-minute set, half an hour set. I'll say anybody could probably do that. But to really be able to DJ a function, a whole function, and know everything, it is a lot. And I think sometimes people get discouraged because they think it's easier than it actually is. Like, for example, when we talk about weddings, you can't go in a wedding and you're just starting off on, you're up here. You kind of have to get yourself together and play the slow music but I enjoy that part. I keep trying to convince Franchise to come be my partner. He does my wedding. He hates them. I have referred him several times for weddings. It's such good money. And Franchise
you like doing weddings?
Now. Do I like doing weddings now. I was like Franchise years ago, but I do like them now because I understand the whole process. And for me, especially if it's somebody who doesn't have like a wedding planner or something, I just end up kind of taking that role on. So now I'm like, I like kind of like organizing stuff. So now I'm like bossing people around. All right, we're going to line up over here. We're getting ready to do this. No, you're not coming out now. Like, I love that. I love being like, okay, no, I love organizing it, making it be good. And I like being the person to create the vibe for that memory. You know what I mean?
What is it about weddings that some DJs just don't like?
So, because it's a long time before you get to actually turn up. It's really, weddings probably are more managing the wedding party and the dinner music and the slow songs and the toast and the dance.
But why is the DJ, like, you just talked about all that stuff you like to do, so now do they give you double pay? Because now you're hired as the DJ and the reception.
I've never asked for like double pay for that, but usually for weddings you do charge more than you would charge for the average function, because one, you got to think about your outfit. It's not like an average outfit. Apparently, you're gonna get dressed for a wedding, and you got to think about all the things that you do. I'm sorry, Franchise, don't shake your head.
And that's it.
Do you know? Listen, but I never do.
Franchise, you had a good time at my wedding.
Was I
in the tuxedo?
Nope.
Exactly.
You can come anywhere you want.
Franchise, I don't even
play Rick Ross, Too Short.
See, and this is the thing he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that people, because Franchise will take him how he is because people love him.
Love him.
So he wouldn't have to. All he would have to do, if you get a wedding, Franchise, call LadyRuck. I'll do all the other stuff you hate to do. I told you that before. This is what I'm talking about, working together.
And I agree with that. If you're, I don't think there's anything wrong, because a lot of DJs just want to do what they do.
Yes, and I get that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
They don't want to announce the bridal party. Now they got to worry about, am I going to pronounce this name right? They don't want to say, okay, it is a lot.
I'm a comedian on the side, so I don't care if I butcher a name sometimes. So I'll just make a quick little joke out of it.
Mine was easy. It was just me and Colleen, so it was easy for him.
But but he knows you all, so we know. Colleen's worse than you when it comes to the music. She was like,
and that's perfect. And but that's also the thing that's also happening now is that, we're older, so like the people that are getting married are younger, and they want that type of music. They want the ratchet music. Right. They want a party. So maybe I'll convince Franchise sometime this year to, join me in my wedding things, because we could make triple. He's laughing. Triple what we're making in some places. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to say triple. I'm going to say quadruple. Quadruple what we're making in some places.
You know what I say? If it makes dollars, it makes sense.
This is what I'm saying. So, Mom, you're going to have to help me work on him.
Back in the day when I used to take care of stuff, I didn't play. A couple people try to rub a check, so you better come correct.
So you used to manage, you used to do all the stuff?
Yup, and then it got to a point, it was like, no more personal checks. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, because
then you have to start asking for deposits.
You do.
Because then you canceled at the last minute, and he could have had another gig somewhere else.
Yes, you do.
So, but that's why you need an assistant, because you're booking.
I do.
When you start talking about double booking, you don't ever want to be known as the person where, I
don't
booked
show
her
up.
and then she
I
couldn't do it.
I know.
Rhode Island is small. So
and Rhode Island is small, and they're not really easy. Let me just talk about this crowd. Rhode Island is not easy. Like, I've DJ'd in other states. I've DJ'd in Georgia. I've DJ'd in Jamaica. Like, people are, like, nice generally, but Rhode Islanders are very fickle. If they're not feeling you, they won't pretend. They're like, if they're not where they want to be, we're very fickle. So it is important to kind of manage that. So if anybody's listening that wants to be my assistant, hit me up at LadyRuck@gmail.com.
And I have to interview them because
Yes, please, because I see you're all about the business. I'm like, yeah, I might hire mom to help me because and that's also the other thing too is like, as DJs we have like I feel like most of us have this, personality. We're friendly, we're approachable, we're like, so it becomes hard to kind of talk about money sometimes with people because you feel bad. You don't want to charge people too much, and you don't want anybody to be mad that you're charging them this or whatever. So I've always found helpful when people are like, "I'll do that for you." I'm like, "Please, God, ask them for the money because I don't want to ask for the money."
Yeah, that's not cool. But some people don't want to pay. They got to open up the card at the wedding.
So that happened to me once.
I seen it.
No, it did. It did. It happened to me once. I should have known. I should have known by where the reception was going to be held. That should have been my indicator. And I hate to say that, but that should have been my indicator because the reception. I've never seen anybody. I'm not even going to say the place that it was. What? Okay, maybe I will.
Nah, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Is it the Ville or is it Lockwood? And they have the little hall. Is the Ville? You know what hall I'm talking about?
Over on
what is
Crescent
it?
Street?
Yeah, what is it? Like St. Martin de Porres?
Oh,
Yes,
St. Martin
on
de
Crescent
Porres,
Street,
right
yeah.
across the street from
Yeah.
Child, I should have known when I walked up in there.
What that money order?
First off, they had canceled me like months before because they couldn't afford the rate I gave them. Then I felt bad, and I said, because I seen them, and they're like, we're still getting married, but we don't have the money. But the groom or the fiance, the guy, he had been a big fan. Like every time I dropped a mixtape, he would find me. He'd come down to Music Fiend. He'd have me autograph it. I felt like he was such a fan that I should try to help them out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, whatever you can afford, pay me that. I'll be there. Whatever. Didn't even ask them for a deposit. Got there, did the reception.
You got to get a deposit.
I know that. Listen, that was the lesson.
Well, not when you say whatever you can afford, because you're lucky they even opened the cards.
Child,
They
listen.
could have said, well,
They could have said, well, thank you, because we couldn't afford nothing. They were like, oh, we'll pay you. Actually, they weren't going to open the cards. They were like, we're going to go through and we'll let you know what we have and we'll pay you. But at the time, my friend Desiree was acting as my manager, and she was like 8 months pregnant, and she was like, no, we're not doing that. And she went in and she's like, you need to open your envelopes and pay my girl right now. And they were like, okay. So they were and people were like in the wedding looking at me like angry because they were opening their envelopes to pay me. But I'm like, that's not my bad.
Yeah.
You
got to pay for that.
I haven't thought about that in so long. Oh my God.
They should have did a GoFundMe before the wedding.
Listen,
so
I can't. I don't know.
Listen, I seen it. I seen the DJ and the groom going like having words, and so he's like, I ain't gonna play nothing.
I mean, and a smart DJ asks for the money like before they stop playing, because then it becomes I'm not doing anything.
They're drinking.
Yeah, then at the end of the night, it's too late to try to get your money. So.
Yeah, you already played. The night's over.
Like, the DJ's got to start looking at themselves as artists, because if you book an artist, and this is whether it's secular, gospel, whatever, they are not even going to sing a note until they know they
got the full payment.
They're not doing anything until they know they have their money. They want their money before they.
I gotta get a deposit.
Yeah, and
there's a deposit, but they want the remainder of that money before they want. And you know, she's so right. I've been at shows where artists are sitting outside saying, "I will not come in and do this show until I get my full payment." I've been there. I've been actually the DJ at a show where an artist is outside waiting for the payment.
And that's terrible on the person who would do that. Like, someone's coming there to make your party popping, and you can't even, you know what I mean?
And I tell that to people all the time. Even, you know, I do a lot of stuff, you know, in the church stuff. And when we're bringing in people from out of state, I said, listen, you cannot rely on offerings to
all
be
the
able
time.
to pay those people's
all
honorariums. You have to have that honorarium money up front.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. Are the Knicks winning?
Yeah.
and the music makes the party.
It does. It is. You got to value it, and you got to treat people with value. And it goes to really a lot of things that people do, whether it's DJing, party planning, making, catering, all kinds of stuff. We have to start getting into the habit of valuing people for the services they provide and not pretending like they're not providing something important to us, and it's not important for us to not only pay them but tip them. Tip your DJs, please, guys. Like, you should definitely be tipping DJs.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning when I got married. My wife was like, "Send franchise some more money."
You're supposed to.
We cashed out them some more money.
You're supposed to.
That was the first
he's
thing.
family. No, he's not.
But hey, that was the first thing she said, like at 7 a.m.
But see,
like,
that's what. Thank God for family that treats you how you should be treated, because you know how you should be treated by other people as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you should do. When a DJ does a good job for you, give him a little extra. It don't got to be anything crazy.
And the food was okay at my wedding, but everyone loved the music. Everyone was like,
yeah.
yo.
When you have that response, you should feel like.
And we put it together in like 3 weeks. That was like we just threw it together.
So
and it was,
what is it, a shotgun wedding? Let's talk about
no shotgun.
Let's talk about this wedding now.
No. It was real
They're
private.
jokes. I told you I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
I told you I think I'm a
It
comedian.
was real private, like 12 people. Then we went to Madeira in East Providence, and it was nice.
And how many was the reception?
Maybe 70.
Oh, that sounds real fun and intimate.
Yeah,
It was really nice.
That sounds fun.
It went from 10 to 70.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody wants to be at a
But
wedding.
the music was
Franchise knows what to do.
He knows.
He does. Well, we're going to get ready and wrap this up. Thank you so much
No,
for
I appreciate you
coming
guys.
to be a part of our podcast. And I guess for those that are listening who are planning on or want to be up and coming DJs, I guess the most important thing is one thing you didn't say, though, so I have to ask. How do you feel about them getting a mentor?
Oh, you should have a mentor. And anything that you do, you should have somebody that's a mentor. You should, if you have a goal to go to a different career or something, you should always look to somebody in that field to give you advice, to ask you. And that doesn't mean it has to be like, an extensive mentorism or anything like mentorship or anything like that. But you should always ask people in that field to give you advice or even be there for you if you have questions or anything. And I definitely am a person where I don't feel like I'm the best DJ in the world, but if any person wants to contact me for any questions, whether it's about booking gigs, whether it's about DJing, whether it's about getting connected, or resources, or just how to do it, I'm always open. LadyRuck@gmail.com, LadyRuck.com, LadyRuck on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever. Hit me up, send me a message. I will definitely direct you in the direction of help, which however helpful I can be. And even if I'm not the person that becomes your mentor, I'll convince franchise to be a mentor. Good luck.
Yeah, he mentored Knockout.
Yes, that's right.
That's when Knockout was going to the Met.
Yeah.
That's his mentor.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any more female DJs out there?
Oh, so I need people
In Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Yes, there's plenty of us in Rhode Island, and I need people to stop acting like I'm the only one. Please
Well,
stop
I didn't
doing
know.
that.
That's why
no,
I
no, no.
asked.
I just it's not you. I want people to stop saying to me that I'm the best female DJ that they know when I'm the only female DJ that you know. You have to know other female DJs to say I'm the best female that you know. Number one. But there are plenty of female
I didn't know
DJs now.
that.
Well, you think about it. I don't know. Like, for me, like when I look at TV and even on commercials, reality TV, everywhere. There's female DJs everywhere.
Well, I meant
DJ
local.
Diamond
I
Club.
meant local.
Oh no, Rhode Island definitely. We have DJ Reza Wrights. We have DJ Lovely. We have
Is she
DJ
still
Beba.
DJing? I haven't heard.
Oh, DJ Lovely?
Yeah, because she did it.
She was
years
actually
ago.
supposed to do something I think she does it sporadically. Like she does private events a lot.
Oh, okay.
But she's still DJing. So I'm gonna still mention her, and I love her, and she's cute, and I love her, so I'm gonna mention her.
Well, you lady DJ.
Yeah, we got to stick together.
But you need
We
to
got
have
Beba.
a night. You need
We
to
do.
go to FET and let everybody hear what the ladies.
So
Have a ladies' night.
So
Exactly.
I've been doing a lot of that this year. I've been engaging pretty much a lot of female DJs. That's why I wanted to shout out DJ Beba. I work with her on Thursday nights. You can see me and her at JL Dana's. Also, DJ Ty Roberts, which is not somebody that anybody really knows, but she's just starting out. And I've worked with her at JL Dana's and also at Troop. I've had her over there. There's also oh my gosh, DJ Rami,
I didn't know that.
which she's a performer. She's a DJ and she's a performer. There's also I feel like I'm gonna forget people off the top of my head, and I really don't want to. So, ladies, if I forget you, please do not be mad at me. Blame it on my head and not my heart. I'm thinking of somebody off the. Oh God, she's at the salon. Help me, franchise. Do you know her name? She's Cape Verdean girl. Oh God. Oh my gosh. She's gonna. I feel so bad. And I DJ'd with her at Maddox party. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but she's at Salon PVD. She's at the Crib. She's actually part of with DJ Nasty's crew. Oh God, what is her name? Lord, help me.
Well, whoever she is, she's DJ Cape Verdean tonight.
Yes, but she first
DJ
off,
Cape, DJ Cape.
she's
hairdresser at the salon.
she's major though, because she's actually Boston and Rhode Island, and she was actually nominated. Franchise, you were nominated for the Boston Award. What was the name of that awards? New England Hip Hop Awards. She was actually nominated for Best DJ on the New England Hip Hop Awards. So she's doing things. But there's definitely even more than that. And again, apologies that I don't remember off the top of my head.
You did think about her.
But yes.
Oh, it's good to know that there's some more female DJs out
Definitely.
here. So you all need to get your names out
Definitely.
there, because I did not realize. I
Yeah,
just got
me
all
neither.
those names. All I knew was lovely.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely out here. And we're working. We're out here. We are definitely out here. It's just a matter of getting schedules together. I actually had a goal of an event called, because that's where I'm at now. I'm trying to focus on doing more events, actually planning the events, being my own promoter, doing that type of stuff. So one of the events that I have in queue, fingers crossed, is going to be called Ladies in the Park. And it's going to be all female DJs, and we're going to be outside somewhere out here in Providence in the park DJing.
Oh, that's what's up.
And that is kind of still in the works. But of course, one of the things that I thank God for is that He has continuously given me inspiration and direction, and like I have a lot of things coming up. So, it's hard to keep track of them all, but that is one of the things that we are looking
Get
to
that
do.
assistant.
Yes,
You
I
better
know,
get that
I
assistant.
know.
But anyway, we are over time.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I know. Look, I'm
But
sorry.
No, but this was good.
I'm a chatty Cathy, my bad.
It was good. So again, drop your social.
LadyRuck at gmail.com, LadyRuck.com, LadyRuck on Instagram, Snapchat, Sharon LadyRuck Ashley on Facebook. I think that's it. Yeah, just follow me. You can find, usually lately I've been putting all my events on Eventbrite, so you can just hashtag LadyRuck and my events will come up. You can find me. I do a Ladies Lounge podcast now. Actually, we do brunch every Saturday at El Patio. That's a really good time. Thursday nights I'm at JL Dana's. Every second Friday, Alchemy. Every third Friday, Troop. And then other things in between. And also my biggest event of my career is now, is actually going to be coming up in July. It's a DJ blend battle. And I'm so excited. I thank God He gave me a vision that it was going to be at the Strand Theater.
Wow.
And I didn't know how that would be possible, but He literally made it happen. And now it's going to be happening at the Strand Theater. So I'm July 16th.
July 16th. Okay.
July 16th. And shout out to the Strand Theater for working with me on this. Like, I'm so excited. But, I mean, God told me to do it, and I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And a couple people think I'm crazy because it's a really big venue. and it's gonna be literally the biggest event I've ever thrown in my life is what I'm thinking. But
So July 16th, come out. And
but God
support.
told me to move, and I'm gonna move.
And that's all you have to do because he's going to do the rest. He
Yeah.
already knew that he already knows it's going to be a
Yes.
success. So he just wanted to test your faith.
That I would
Am
follow
I gonna
through.
step out? Are you going to do what I said? Good for
Yes.
you.
But I also, the other thing he's been telling me, and before I do get off, and it's not just because we talk about church and other things, but I've been instructed by God that I need to make sure that I use my influence to remind people that God is alive and that we do need to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, the personal Savior. It's the only way to God, and I need everybody to understand that and know that that is the truth, and that is the way.
Awesome. The socials.
CL, oh my God, I'm jammed it up.
I have that effect, you know.
On all platforms.
And you can find me, Shirla White on Facebook, ms_Shirla on Instagram. You can drop us an email, let us know how we're doing. If you would like to be a part of the podcast at ltc.otpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find all our episodes on the YouTube channel, Let's Talk Church and Other Things. Again, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for always being an inspiration. And sometimes you send me a message, and it's not for anybody else but for us. But I am going to say that it's always right on time, and I really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, I remember, and then we're going to close, the wedding that the Coopers.
Yes.
And I was leaving.
Yes.
I was actually on my way out, and you came up to me, and you was like, oh, hi. And you started walking away, but I had to turn around and just say, you know, God said he hadn't forgot about her.
Yeah.
That it was her time, and he's getting ready to bless her. And you just look, doors are.
Literally after that, you know, that was September, I believe, right? Yep. And literally after that, I want to say a month after that was when I got the call for Sway in the Morning. I went on Sway in the Morning as a guest DJ, which was huge, you know.
Right.
So I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I will remember that moment you and I had forever. And that's why when franchise gets on my nerves, I tell him I'm telling his mama.
Right. But you're a prime example of, you know what, you can have a relationship, your own personal relationship, because that's what it is, your own personal relationship with God, and still be out there in the highway in hedges.
Yes.
And still be effective as far as you're doing your thing, but you're also letting people know that, you know what, God is real.
Yes. That's what the meaning of this little light of mine is. It's about shining amongst all the darkness, and that's what I try to do.
Right. So before we go to church, we are going to end. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was
Appreciate
a pleasure
you.
having you. We'll definitely have to have you up again.
Anytime, please.
Yeah. And until next time, peace and blessings.
Now we can talk about Hall & Oates.